You don't see the Jewish abortion rate at the same level as the black abortion rate. 50% of black deaths a year is actually abortion. You don't see the Jewish divorce rate at the level of 70 something. You said the percent of black moms raising their kids by themselves. You don't see Jewish people shooting each other down in the street on World Star and then rapping about it. It's just not, there's not Jewish content like that. And also Jewish people do business.
Well, is he right about this stuff that he's talking about in relation to Jewish content? How much of Jewish content do you actually see that is negative? And when you think about the individuals that own businesses, whether it's in media or public relations, entertainment, depending on which media we're speaking of, who owns most of those media channels, right? So I think it's great questions that you should consider asking when you're watching different pieces of media and how they're presenting individuals that you may like or not like. Why are they doing that? And how are they able to galvanize a whole bunch of media channels at the same time to either rail on a particular influencer or an entertainer that you enjoy? My name is Andrew. Welcome to my channel. And on this channel, I talk about things that intrigue me. And this video is about the Candace Ye conversations. And of course, you saw the clip at the beginning. It's already hitting on an incredible, I don't know, I don't have any terminologies I want to use here. I'll keep it flowing for sure. But the thing about it that's interesting to me is that how much of what he's saying is off by a lot, right? When you hear Candace speaking in this particular conversation, as well as Ye having the conversation with Candace, which is a conversation we've been waiting for a long time, because according to what was mentioned in the video, she couldn't record it at the Daily Wire, and she had to wait until she was relieved from Daily Wire to actually release this conversation. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. And also, we're almost at 200 subscribers on this fairly new channel. I'm pushing towards 500. I may show a baby picture of me since this is an IRL channel that I'm building here. But this conversation is absolutely incredible. And yeah, I just love content like this, especially content that we've been waiting for. And for an individual like Candace who's been waiting to leave Daily Wire, of course, she didn't want to leave in the terms, I guess, in conditions the way she left, even though she doesn't really talk about it. But it's interesting to see how much content that we're getting from her team. And that content is really making a difference and even adding different perspectives on the table as well. One clip that was really interesting to me when I was watching this particular conversation, and if you have not watched this conversation, you should watch it. It is an incredible conversation between Candace Owens and Kanye West. And the part where he's talking about how Jewish people, they will talk about their trauma and things that they've experienced. And rightfully so. If you've had some experiences in your life, you definitely should talk about those experiences. But one thing that's interesting, though, if other groups can't talk about their own experiences, that's kind of weird, right? So you could talk about your experience and how you've been impacted for generations because of what you've gone through, but other demographics can't do that. And that is kind of weird if that's the case. Take a listen to this clip where he talks about this.
I think that Jewish people always will tell you about the trauma and the Holocaust. So one of my favorite lines on the Drink Champs, you actually hit me about this, is when Doug Charney said, "Hey, I want to take you to the Holocaust Museum." And I said, "I want you to go to our Holocaust Museum, Planned Parenthood." Like, we're still in the Holocaust. 6 million Jewish people died in the Holocaust. Over 20 million darker Jews, black people, have been aborted. More babies are aborted in New York at this point than born at this point. And my thing about the media, the majority of the media, over 50% of the media, at least, it's probably 80%, but over 50% of the media is run by Jewish executives. And they allow all of this abortion-driven content that more affects the darker Jew, the black people, more than any other race.
So I believe that's an interesting take. I don't think that is a crazy take. So even when you think about me recording this video right now, if my mom and my dad decided not to have me, I wouldn't be here, right? I think that's easy math, right? And when we hear conversations about individuals who decide to not go through the process of not having their babies being here, and I'm being extremely careful in how I'm wording this because, of course, you see the platform that I'm on. You know, it's a big decision. Some people make the decision to do that. Some people make the decision not to do that, right? And I think that it is always an interesting conversation when it comes to, you know, my body, my choice, and all the other things that go along with that. And yes, I'm keeping it very, you know, public relation-esque in my speech, but you know what I'm talking about. You see it all the time. We hear these conversations all the time, and we have to really be mindful in how we're navigating these conversations, even in real time, because it's not rehearsed. I have no scripts here with what I'm saying. I'm just really trying to be careful to get my point across without saying anything crazy for this video to be banned, like the Drink Champs video. That is that even on the internet anymore? The Ye and Drink Champs interview, did that? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I think these conversations are very interesting. Although they are uncomfortable, they are extremely interesting. So next part of the video that was really interesting is when Candace started dropping bars. And I think about some of the artists that I grew up with: Onyx, DMX, The Locks, of course, a lot of different artists in that particular label that no one wants to talk about right now. LL Cool J, of course, one of the greatest. You know, Redman, Method Man, Wu-Tang. We can go down the list of all the different artists. And I think this section was really interesting. Really nice to see this side of Candace outside of her show, right? This was a very laid-back, chill conversation. And Candace remembers some bars in a particular track, and she shares those bars right here.
I dumbed down my audience to double my dollars. They criticize me for it, yet they all yell holla. If skills sold, truth be told, I'd probably be lyrically Talib Kweli. Truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mil, and I ain't been rhyming like common sense. When your sense got that much in common, and you've been hustling since, the only perception for perception go with what makes sense. Since I know what I'm up against, we as rappers must decide what's most important. And I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So I got rich and gave back. To me, that's the win-win.
And last and certainly not least, when you hear individuals speak about any particular activity that happens in Hollywood, they tend to disappear or they tend to pass away, right? Whether it's any individual that is in the entertainment industry, and this particular clip, it's a Prodigy clip where he's talking about things that happen in Hollywood, and all of a sudden, not too many months or weeks hence, or whatever the saying is, he's out of here. He's no longer with us. From choking on an egg. And what's interesting about that, who have you heard ever, okay, in the history of watching media, okay, we've heard someone passing away from a cold, different things like that. And some of those things we wonder if that's even a conspiracy also, right? But someone choking on an egg and passing away is extremely odd, right? At first, we thought it was because of the sickle cell, but it was because of an egg. I don't know. I don't know if we're buying that, especially when individuals start speaking out about an industry that is very, very secretive in a lot of the rituals that they do. And that's what we see with that particular industry. Take a listen to what Prodigy had to say. It's very alarming.
Yeah, they doing all this ritualistic murder and rituals on little, you know, they molesting little kids, doing satanic sex rituals. Like, this stuff is really going on in this world. Like, on 9/11, you know what I mean? What they did was they killed 20 birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying? That's how I like to say it. You know what I mean? Because they changed all kinds of laws. They changed all kinds of They changed people's mentality, the way they look at the world. They pulled off one of the biggest ritualistic murders, you know what I mean, that ever happened, you know what I mean, live for the whole world to see.
Oh man, my heart couldn't take it. Two national treasures on a podcast together. I hope at some point Kanye decides to do more of these kind of conversations with individuals that are actually willing to give him space to have these conversations. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you click this video right here. Watch the entire interview. Also subscribe right here. I'm almost at 200. Do appreciate it. Let's keep going.